good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be, wherever you may be, anywhere in the world because of the internet. Welcome to the Rare Book Cafe, the coffee break edition, with my favorite guest and maybe temporary co-host, Richard Mori, Richard Mori Books, Nashua, New Hampshire. Welcome back.
Hello, Ed. It's good to see you. You're not in bed yet?
I'm not. I'm at my favorite cafe here in Verona, Italy. I've been over in Italy studying bookbinding and paper restoration, and it's my favorite cafe because they got the best Wi-Fi, and I could do the show from here. And from here, I can drink my Aperol spritz. It's a coffee break edition, but you do what you got to do for the show. Richard, good news, bad news situation here. Good news. The show was fantastic. I want you to tell me about it in a minute. But the bad news, I'm afraid, folks, has to come first. My co-host, the show's co-host, Lee Linn, theridgebooks@gmail.com, fell. She had a fall. She broke an arm and a leg. She had surgery. We're so sad, but she's well. Let me tell you, she's well. She's off to a rehabilitation assistance for a couple of weeks. Her son's been up there. We've been talking to her. I've been texting with her. Richard, we feel so bad.
Well, we were stunned. It happened while we were doing loadout on the other side of the building.
The show was over.
The show was over, and some woman that I didn't know came running around the corner, calling my name, and said someone's fallen, and I knew exactly who it was as soon as they told me.
Oh dear.
She used my name, So we went over and checked her. She was laying on the ground. She wasn't in pain at that point, but it was obviously something serious.
Mm-hmm.
And we made sure she got to the right hospital, got to Mass General, and Dwayne's wife went with her. You had someone there to make sure that things were going okay.
Well, thanks for taking good care of her.
Well, she's one of our friends. We take care of her.
Yeah, for sure. Book community is a tight community.
It is.
All right. So we're going to start off with Lee because of that. Lee was, by the way, you want to send Lee some hellos, how do you do's, get well soons, theridgebooks@gmail.com, theridgebooks@gmail.com. Send Lee a howdy do.
She'll be more than pleased.
She will. All right. So she shared a booth. I understand she shared a booth with 10-pound books, 10-pound Island Books, owned by Greg Gibson in Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Correct.
And
it was his son's first show.
Yeah. And his wife, his soon-to-be wife, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Lee took the opportunity to interview them here. Now, folks, these are people that have been in the book business for 3 months. They're at their first book fair, and you can just see the joy on their faces. There's nothing that makes people happy like books and book fairs. And we're going to get back to talk about the book fair in a moment, but let's run that video first, Alan.
Hi, everyone. I'm currently at Books in Boston, shadow show for the ABAA International Book Fair in Boston, Massachusetts. We've had a busy day. We have a few minutes now, and I'm talking to Jared Turner, who represents 10-Pound Island Books, which is owned by the renowned collector and seller of maritime material, Greg Gibson. Jared could be termed Greg's latest acquisition, since he's been with him for about 3 months now. Tell us what your background is and how you came to work with Greg.
Yeah, so basically I went to school for screenwriting. I went to Sarah Lawrence College, and there I studied film, literature, and I've always had a passion for books and reading. And it was like the most chance of occurrences. I just started reaching out because we just decided, my fiance and I, that we were moving out from Syracuse to Gloucester. I started reaching out to people in the Gloucester area, and I reached out to Greg one day and said, "Hey, are you looking for anybody to work at the bookshop?" And he emailed me back, and that's how we met, basically.
Well, that's great. So I understand this is your first book fair.
Yeah.
And you set up early this morning. I know that.
Really wasn't sure what to expect coming in this morning, being my first book fair. So,
Right. Well, they're a lot of fun, and people are willing to help. Is there anything you've sold that you're especially pleased, or that Greg is especially pleased that you've
I
sold?
know we had a big book right here. Not these Arctic Reality sketchbooks, but there was a big book about that thick of. It was like a big book of churches, and glad to see that one go.
Good.
And there was a collection of New Bedford stuff, one of which I sold a book from there that, after cataloging the whole New Bedford collection and making a new list, it was cool to see that.
Well, that's good. And I know you'll be glad not to have to pack up that great big book.
Yeah.
That's always a plus. Well, and I'm going to switch over to Aiden for just a second. This is Aiden. They are planning a June wedding. And so this is her first book fair also.
Yes.
And I noticed she's done a really good job of writing up tickets
Thanks.
and all of that. And I've enjoyed sharing the booth with them this weekend.
All right, folks. That was filmed by my co-host, Lee Linn, theridgebooks@gmail.com. Send her a get well. Richard, speaking of get well, I heard the book show done gone well.
It did. We were later able to running it. The original show that was going to be there was canceled the 1st of July. So by the end of July, Wayne and I had made the decision to move forward with it, and we did a lot of effort and work, and cooperation with a lot of booksellers. We managed to put on the book show.
I know, as I said, I've been texting with Lee, and one of the things, she's probably in pain. She's just got out of surgery, and one of the things she said was, "But the book fair went well for me."
It did. She had she had some good sales.
You going to do it again? Is there going to be a first anniversary show?
Well, there's a secret here, so let's not tell everybody.
Oh, shh. All right, just me and you. Alan, turn off the mics. It's just me and Richard here.
Yeah. We're already making plans for next year. We have our date, and I've already been told what we're going to sell out.
Excellent. Well, I will tell you, if I'm in a position to have the right inventory at the time, I will have a booth. And even if I'm not, I will be there as a buyer because I'm trying to get back into the big book business as it is when I get back to the U.S. Or I may even have a booth there as a book binder. Would you allow that? All right, Richard, before we move on to your usual covetous finds, what else can you tell us about the book fair? And now you guys were right next to the ABAA fair, right across the street from it pretty much.
25 years ago, there's the Shadow Show started in Boston. Bernice Bornstein had it in the basement of a parking garage, which was right at the back of the Heinz Auditorium.
Come on, literally in the parking garage?
Literally in the basement.
Are people literally selling books out of their trunks?
Well, no, we had tables.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, it was one of the most successful events. They went on for a few years, and the divorce of Bernice was the sound heard around the world because we all went, oh no. But the fair continued in other locations over the years, but never got back to that neighborhood. And Dwayne and I came up with this location, which is just a half a block from that parking garage. And
The circle completes.
the circle completes, and of course, a lot of the dealers who are at the Hines stay at the Sheraton, which is right beside the Hines,
Sure, sure.
across the street from the Hilton. And those who don't stay at the Sheraton stay at the Hilton.
Well, next year I'm going to stay with my sister. She just lives right down the road.
Well, good.
All right, Richard, no show with you is complete without some of the treasures that you have recently come across. So regale us, Richard, regale us.
I didn't buy it heavily at this show because I was running it, but I did buy a couple of things. And this one is a favorite. It's not an expensive item. You pay a lot for it, and I don't sell it for a lot. But it's one of my favorites. This is a 1937 map of the White Mountains of New Hampshire. And it's
All right.
It's actually a National Geographic map. And
National Geographic, the magazine.
that's exactly right. And it's actually become harder to find. It's a beautiful piece when it's framed. And it's a favorite of mine.
But Richard, doesn't it break your heart when someone calls you and says, I have every copy of National Geographic back to 1917? And you have to tell them, well, I'm not going to empty them from your basement?
Yeah. Actually, I had a good friend that was his primary business. It's National Geographic.
Really?
Yeah. And when
He had a good back.
Well, when they opened up their warehouse and started selling everything out of the warehouse, they put him out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good. But here's something, Ed. Not quite in the book world, but you're going to love this because
Ephemera? Is it going to be ephemera?
it's better than that. So,
Hold on a second. I put on my glasses. Uh-oh. A rector set. Is that an erector set?
no, this is a tramway.
A funicular.
That's right. So this is from the 50s, and it's in a box, and you can actually set it up with wire and run the tram cars.
You turn a crank. Was it crank operated?
Yep, it's a crank operated, and it's got little figures down here. And,
Cool.
And I just bought this week. And
Richard, the only thing that would make that from a very good to a fine is if the written instructions in there. Is there a little
I don't have the instructions.
don't have the print? You don't have the printed, but that doesn't demean it by any means.
No, but in the cars are metal, and it even has tickets.
Well, you got some paperwork with it.
Yeah.
That's it's like a baptismal certificate.
But that, I tell you, you never know what you're going to find.
I know it. So, Richard, we're going to have the show next year. I understand that you're taking the winter off. Are you a snowbird?
Well, I did the snowboard for 20 years.
Really? That's your thing, huh?
Yeah. And what I found is that one is less expensive for me to live in Florida, and two, I do shows. And when you're up here in the north, you don't know if you're going to get that show in because it's snow.
How much material do you carry south with you?
I bring my van and a trailer.
A van and a trailer. Woo-hoo.
And I spend three and a half months down there, and I do a show a little bit on the way down, and I do some shows on the way back.
Cool. Hey, someone sent me a text recently, showed me a gas pump in Massachusetts, $2.89 a gallon. So you make sure you fill up before you leave.
Oh, I do. I get my gas at the least expensive place in New England. It's right here in Nashua.
All right, folks. Can you believe this guy? I just so love having you with us, Richard. You're going to come back for our next show next week?
I hope so.
All right, very good. I'm not sure Lee's going to be able to make it. Everybody, theridgebooks@gmail.com. Send Lee a note. Richard, always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Ed.
All right, the Rare Book Cafe, the Rare Book Lovers Rendezvous. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us wherever great podcasts are given away for free. Bye-bye, Richard.
Take care. Peace.
Peace.